Thank you so much, love, for giving your time to come and talk about your recovery. I really appreciate it, love.
Not a problem.
All right. So I'd love you to say a little more about you, where you're from, who you are, what you do, what you love, anything that feels important to you to share. Go for it.
Alrighty, I'm Melissa and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I'm 31 and I am a midwife who is now venturing out of the system and started my own business in childbirth education and moving into full spectrum support, working with women, being with women throughout their entire pregnancy, birth and postpartum. And it's everything I've ever wanted to do. So that is what I do in my work life. And then most of the time I am snuggling my dog, Gus. And probably just on the land, out in nature, off grid, but always accidentally off grid. So no one ever knows.
I love this. We love Gus. If Gus makes an appearance, he's very welcome.
Awesome. He's at my feet and he's had a walk and he's like, don't.
He's a 10 out of 10 good boy. We love him very, very much. Thank you so much, Melissa. And your work is beautiful. We will put a link underneath to your website and your Instagram so people can see what you do, because birth matters. And so your work is so important.
Thank you.
No worries, my love. Can you tell me a little more about what you were dealing with in your mind, body? What was going on health, illness-wise for you before we met?
A lot. My entire 20s, I was working with a diagnosis, but probably being quite ill from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So working with a range of diagnoses: Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, pretty much everything that comes in the usual combination with environmental and chronic illness. I took all the hats. So I got into I finished high school and then my health really started to deteriorate. And I'm very lucky. I was brought up in an integrative way. So I always knew that there's something wasn't quite fitting what all the Western medical doctors were telling me. So I was constantly looking, but it also took another 7 years before a diagnosis. So I was 26 and almost in a wheelchair before I got all those diagnoses. And then I spent a good 4 years doing all the treatments, very much treatments. I spent 12 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 separate times overseas.
Where did you go? Was that Cyprus? Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Cyprus doing ozone therapy at an incredible medical center there run by Russians. They really know their stuff.
They do. They do. And did that help, the functional integrative medicine? How much did it help?
So my first round with them doing all the integrative treatments, ozone, colonics, infrared, neural, magnetic therapy, I definitely felt like I was definitely just going the physical pathway of dealing with the physical clearing and treatment. So it definitely worked, and I was like, but it brought out a lot of infections that were dormant. So then I went for a second trip, and I definitely believe it really just brought my infection load down.
Yes.
So it was probably the only thing that worked for me. I did herbal drops and everything. Everything that everyone who will be coming to you for this course will have done. And I was just getting worse by the day. So I was literally at the point of like, if I don't go overseas, I may not be alive. So I definitely believe it really brought me back down to a baseline, so then I could just reassess from a much more capable place.
Yeah.
And, like psychologically, emotionally, mentally takes a huge toll. And you don't gain much clarity when you're in that state of just trying to fix and find ways to heal. So I definitely believe it allowed me to find a baseline again, but at the same time I was still working really hard post.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad you said that. It's why I ask, because there's different puzzle pieces for everyone. And yes, we have all the t-shirts of all the doctors and every herb and supplement you've ever seen. But I'm glad that gave you some kind of baseline and got you kind of out from the trenches a little. So after that, why did you choose a mind-body way of working?
I actually told myself, because I have a health medical background, so I feel really lucky the entire time that I've been battling illness that I was able to understand and actually really do good, proper research despite having no memory. I still am baffled how I did it. But I knew that I told myself on the second round of treatment, I was like, your next step is to do the mental work, because I know chronic illness, there is a big part. I didn't realize how big the part was. Like, it's mammoth. And I told myself, so my last treatment was end of 2018. And then I spent the next year doing some serious gut healing. And then we got to the end of 2019 heading into COVID. And I started what I would say was like going backwards and not able to keep food down, and just everything was coming out again. I was like, well, I got to get to Cyprus, because that was the one thing that I knew that could get me a baseline.
Yes.
And then we were in lockdown, and in Australia, we're on an island and we weren't allowed off it. So I was like, well, do what you told yourself you were going to do. You have no option. And I found my environmental illnesses came out with an absolute vengeance. So for a few years, I wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't go into buildings. My throat would swell up. And then we hit 2020 and I was like, couldn't wear clothes. I was just spent the entire year in my underwear in my house. So I was like, well, it's now or never. And I was really lucky. Somehow, somewhere, a friend offered me the DNRS course.
Okay, that's how you started, was DNRS. Oh, I remember now.
Yeah. And I was like, it came around. I thought it was very interesting. I was offered it at the very beginning of my Lyme illness journey.
Yeah.
I was like, not right now. And then it came back round. So I smashed out the course in 3 days.
Of course you did.
Because when you are having a chronic illness, you will do everything to a T and you will just go for it. And nothing can go outside what you're meant to be doing. So
no, push, do it. But do it perfectly. Everything will be just fine.
Yeah. So I actually was working with an incredible acupuncturist, traditional Chinese medicine lady, who I finally also connected and used her as a psychologist. I'm very good at cheating the system when it comes to psychology. So that was a really great way to pair with the DNRS. So I went full steam ahead with the DNRS, which I spent 4 to 6 hours a day, every day.
Oh, Melissa, your sweet nervous system. So crispy.
It was a lot. But I was like, I have to do this. I have no choice. There's no option. This is what we're doing. And we're in lockdown, so I had no FOMO and couldn't go anywhere. I was in my underwear anyway. But yeah, so it was doing the steps, the traditional like neural rewiring steps that a lot of the programs offer, and stopping your symptoms in track, and then changing it up with a visualization of where you want to be and what you want. And I was noticing a difference, but I found it really hard because it's a very gray area for quite a while. You need like black and white moments for your brain to be like, it is working.
Yes.
And I was ticking off my calendar. I was going to do it for a year, and I was like, got 9 months down. And I was like, this is working, but if we come out of lockdown, I can't spend 4 to 5 hours a day just to live a normal life.
Yeah. So what brought you to this kind of more dialed in mind body? Wow.
Yeah, well, I worked out that the work I was doing with the psychologist, the emotional acceptance, I was like, I think that's the missing part to the program that I'm doing through DNRS. And then I came across you. You just fell into my Instagram lap.
I'm glad. So that's how it began.
That's
How
how
is
it.
it different to what you'd done before, our work?
It's so different. It's
So different.
so different. It's kind, and it's there's acceptance and there's grace and there is actual real joy, not just like I must feel joy.
Oh, I see your face. Bless you. I understand. I was there. Yeah, much more kindness and joy and real joy and acceptance.
And a deeper understanding. Like I had a pretty good understanding of how the neural rewiring works and how we can change pathways and influence our mind and body. But you brought in just a real easy way of understanding it at deeper levels of why we need to do it the way you are teaching and mentoring. And within weeks, like I cut down to like just 12 minutes a couple times a day. And I was seeing like rapid improvements. And even my parents, who I still live with at the age of 31, they were like, whoa, something's changed and this is amazing. So they'd never seen changes like this in my entire, that was so visible and like permanent almost. And permanence, I don't know if that's the right word, but
it was that black and white change you had been looking for, because you could tolerate your clothes, you could see Granddad. There were things really happening.
They were, yeah, I could wear my clothes. I hadn't slept in my own bedroom for like 10 months, and I went back in and I got all the sensations and my throat swelling up, but I knew that it was actually not physically possible. And it was an incredible black and white moment. And my mum was with me, so it was really good. And she saw just like within 20 minutes, like things change within my body. And then like 20 minutes after, we came back. So that was that was like my big black and white moment that just was like, oh, this is like life changing.
You were so brave, Melissa. I want to say how courageous you were. It's not an easy thing when the symptoms are real, but the danger is not. And to be working with your sensations and your system to teach it that it's okay and stay and wait that 20 minutes, you were incredible. And I'm still so proud of you and happy for you that you got back into your life. So well done, love.
Yeah, I'm incredibly grateful to have found you. It's just I am still working every day, and I do, and but I always like when it's really hard question, and people constantly ask you when you're chronically ill, like, are you feeling better? What's the deal? And you're just like, for months I just couldn't answer.
Yes.
But generally, I'm like, I'm a functioning human now, and I'm doing the work that probably all humans should be doing anyway.
Thank you. Indeed.
And I'm making life work for me. And I get to spend time with my grandpa. I didn't get to see him for such a long time. So I'm just like doing normal human things. But at the same time, like I never want to be normal.
Good. Don't be a muggle. You're allowed to be exactly as you are. It's been part of your experience, and a lot of my clients, that our nervous system is a little more sensitive. We do need to orient differently in a sick society that is achievement based and very fast and very outward focused. It's okay to orient to you.
Yeah, it's a superpower, really.
Yeah, agreed. It's
taken me a while to accept it too. I feel like when you do this work, and I have ignored it for a very long time, and it still scares me. But learning to accept that and working with you to accept that little bit each day.
Little bit by little bit. Yeah, I really, really like that. It's just honest that it's okay that we're a work in progress and we're thriving again. We're functional. We're living. Yeah. What have you most enjoyed about healing this way?
Ooh. I mean, like, to pinpoint moments, just like healing with you in our sessions together, they're like fun and we laugh, and you create a space where like, I will cry in front of you, which is huge for me. I don't think I did. I never cried in front of anyone until I was like late 20s. So
Oh,
um, just the space to feel vulnerable. But I've actually really loved, I'm obsessed with the brain now. Like,
isn't it fascinating?
so fascinating, and it fits so well with the work I do and the deeper I go working with women
Yes.
in pregnancy and birth and what I see occurs in birth. It is 80% mind, and
Yes.
if we go even deeper, it's so much more than that, than the physical body.
Mm.
And I have been able to yeah, intertwine like what I'm learning through neuro with my birth work, which
Juicy.
yeah, it's like ooh.
It's beautiful, Melissa. It's beautiful to see more gifts get unlocked from such challenge and for you to take this and put it into your work. I love it. I'm so excited to see what you do.
It's also really beautiful to be able to have acceptance for yourself. And I was never one to judge someone, but like you really understand where people are coming from when they're talking to you, or when things happen in a workplace or just in like social circles. You're like, oh, that's not mine. Like,
Yeah.
this is just, we're all just humans trying to work out how to adult and how to move through life. And that's been I've actually really enjoyed that part of
Good.
like
Good.
understanding humans. Like, it brings me a lot of joy.
A lot of people have said that. You'll see it in the other interviews. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
common thread of, when you accept your humanity and all different parts of us, you really get to start to observe other people and it makes sense. And yeah, it's tender, no one knows what they're doing. We're all just trying to get along and grow and heal and deal with shit.
We're all just little kids running around. Like, we hit 18 and we're told to adult, but we're not actually taught.
I know. And it is, you get to really see that in people. I'm glad you've taken that away from you. It really makes for a richer life. What other lessons have you learned from this process that have been really valuable to, how you live, how you care for your nervous system, how you orient in the world?
For myself, the lessons I've learned is like, just take a step back and just always give yourself grace. Like, just be so kind to yourself. I had a moment about a month ago where I moved through a lot of healing, and I came out of it and I was like, I really love you. And it's none of that, like, I love you, beautiful affirmations. Like, I couldn't even put like my moisturizer on and being like, I really love you. Just like total acceptance. But at the same time, like, things happened to me yesterday that I had to work through, and I got really angry with myself, and these emotions and these parts are still going to come up. And I am at a space where like I'm generally okay with it to come up, and I'm not going backwards, and I'm not sick again. It's just like, this is human.
Thank you. All right. I cannot tell you how much I value this and respect it. Everyone said the same too. And the same is true for me. Shit happens. Things come up.
A lot.
Very familiar ways of our nervous system responding, reacting. And it doesn't mean anything bad about us as people or our health. It's patterns and things of protection and being partly human. And we get to take care of it.
Yeah, and we're all on different levels of healing and spectrums, and it's like a wild roller coaster, and you cannot compare. And I have lots of friends who have gone through what I've gone through, and some are on this pathway with you, and some are like nearly there, but like some of them can read a book and they read all the books, and I still can't read a book, but I can do this and I can do that, and you just can't compare. So I'm really just like caring for myself so that I can care for others and give. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. But you have to care for yourself first, and that's so okay to put yourself first, which has
Yes.
been a big learning curve for me. So I
Thank
also loved just like the connection with nature. Like it's such a big part.
It is. It leads me on to my next question because of plant medicine. My next question was if there been any other supports outside of this work, physical, emotional, social, that have held you and helped you along the way?
Yes, well, I have sat with plant medicine.
Yes.
It's been a journey with me and plant medicine.
Mm.
I came across plant medicine in my physical healing journey
Yeah.
quite a few years ago, and I worked with it. It was like, I'm going to heal. Like, this is going to heal me
This is
physically.
the silver bullet.
Yeah, this is it. And then as I started doing the mental emotional work, I was moving into different plant medicines. And I was like, oh, this is more than, it really taught me this is more than just physical healing. Like there is an onion of layers.
Yes.
It goes incredibly deep.
Mhm.
And it's actually taught me to be really like, I probably had two biggest moments of my life where I could be like, I am so proud of you. Like, you are so brave. And I don't think those words don't come out of my mouth a lot. So I think they compare really well with
Yes.
the work that you do and we do. And but go gentle and have an understanding and working with integrity and who you're working with, and be kind and don't jump all in like we all love to do.
That has been an interesting one for us because I am so slow and incremental. I also dived into the plant medicine in a very Aries way, so I did not judge you. But we do learn through that experience that, yeah, who we work with is so crucial. Do your due diligence about the space. You don't need to do all the medicine all the time, especially not with how sensitive we are. A little goes a long way. But that, yeah, it's a deep thing. It's a very deeper than your physical illness. It is ancestral and energetic, and it is a reconnection to yourself and our land. It's a very beautiful onion to peel.
It's an incredibly beautiful onion to peel. Absolutely. And I would never change the pathway that I've taken. It's been a bit brutal at times. um, but they're my lessons too, as well. But yeah, I think it's been an important part of my journey, particularly with the way I process things and the gifts that I've discovered that I have been as I uncover. But yeah, plant medicine.
I think I'll do another talk with my clients because there's a lot of us that have worked with plant teachers. I think it would be wonderful to give a view together. So yeah, I know there's a lot more to say in that plant medicine. I can hear it. So yeah, hold that thought. I think I'll do another space for us.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
But the other kind of supports, finding a social circle that's really accepting of you and where you're at. And I always say, like, I've culled down, and cull's a very harsh word, but that's just what I use, and I don't
No,
do it.
You can go for it. You can say it.
Sometimes you do need to cull, though. But I am surrounded now by just really beautiful, aligned friends. But I also know that there are friends that are not as aligned, but we are accepting of each other. And that's still a beautiful friendship to have. But then sometimes I need to be wary of, like, can I see that person today, or do we need to leave it another day?
Good awareness of resource of what you need, and that different friends have different qualities, and your system might be okay some days and it just not be the right thing another time. And that's okay.
Yeah. And it's so okay, which is, that was a really big lesson to learn. Social, because I felt like I always have to be there for everyone. And it takes a big toll on your nervous system. It's a big critical part because humans.
It really is.
Socializing. So I actually love just being home with my dog. like I can extrovert and I can do it well, but I do love just solitude time, and doing nothing and getting in the ocean has probably been another big healing part.
It has. Water for you really has. It's so lovely to hear my female clients honor that we work like this and that we can do the extrovert, and then we will need to fold in, and that's okay. We're allowed, and it feels good, and we can luxuriate in it, and then we might go out again.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple, but we're gender socialized to just give. We're taught by society to hustle and be busy. And our nervous systems, when they're so activated, just want to go. So it really is a big deal to hear somebody say that they can do this now.
Yeah. Yeah. Not have any guilt or anything when you don't want to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And even when friends like still complain that you don't want it, I don't hold it.
It's not yours. I'm so glad. I love hearing this. So for somebody that is considering this kind of mind-body nervous system work, who might not have done it before, or they might have done a program and it didn't work, what would you say to them about this kind of more dialed in work that's about you as a human? It's not results or achievement focused. It's about coherence and relationship building. What would you say to them?
Trust. Really trust that you are on the right path, and trust yourself. But totally allow yourself to be like really pissed off if like you're not seeing results how you want to see results, because you're brought up in a way of like, oh, you have this, we can fix this with this.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have that within the chronic illness community, despite it being slower in results. But this neuroplasticity game is filled with like, it's all evidence-based. And even if it's not evidence-based, I don't need to do things that need to be evidence-based to recognize that it works. But the science and the connection and just like the true biology of us as humans and the mind-body connection is like integral for us to actually live from a whole space with, like just trust, because it's game-changing, absolutely game-changing. And I've seen it in so many of my friends. And just seeing what you share online and with me in practice, and it can be really, I think it's really daunting, and we don't want to take this path because we've been told our entire time, particularly within the chronic illness community, that it's all in your head.
Oh my goodness, it is awful, that kind of gaslighting. So when you say brain, there's an immediate like, which is so understandable.
So understandable. I remember constantly being told it's all in my head, and it's like the last thing you need to hear, and your back is up. So when you come to find neuro, you can be very quick to dismiss it because you think it's being all in your head. And it's funny because like there is a part, but it's all very real. What you're feeling, the illness that you have, the changing of chemicals that are creating the anaphylaxis, that are creating the gut issues and the brain lesions and all that. Like it's comes down to like our nervous systems and our biology of working together, and it's not just physical and it's not just mental. Like
exactly, it's an interplay. I love that. That is a really good message. Thank you. Finally, so this is a hero's journey none of us asked for, right? It's like someone plucks you and puts you on a side of the mountain, like naked with no gear. You're like, what the deuce?
Literally.
You have to start climbing. Now that you're at a place where you can pause and you've got some skills and you're functional, you're living, and you can take a look around from that mountain, what would you say to younger you that got put on that mountain and just didn't know what the hell was happening? What would you say to younger you?
Don't give up. You actually truly know, and you've always known what is possible for yourself and for humans and the world we live in. Like, just don't give up. And you will reach a point where you're like so darn grateful for the journey you've been on. And it's not just the affirmation you tell yourself, I'm so grateful. Like, I am so grateful that at the age of 30, I get to live my life how I want to live it. And I get to choose every single day how I live my life. So I think the biggest thing for younger me is like trust, because you've known all along, like just keep trusting and building safety.
Thank you. This made me tearful. Thank you. Finally, my love, now that you do get to choose day by day, where is your energy and attention going? What does Melissa's life look like going forwards? Any dreams, where you're focusing, anything at all?
It's something I'm still working out, but for now, and I know, and I think a big lesson is like, I don't have to know right now.
Good.
But as someone who has ideas like all the time and wants to plan and constantly, I do have to stop myself. There is my dog.
He's welcome. Hello, Gus boy.
There is a dog next door. Now I don't know what I'm saying.
Gus, it's fine. I was kicked off too. You were talking about you have so many plans and so many ideas, but you're realizing you don't have to do them all right now.
No, I don't. And I'm still really, really learning that. That's a really big learning curve for me, that I still stumble all around. But right now I am prioritizing me and getting into nature as much as possible.
Great.
And with my dog, building my business and working with women. And a big part is that I have so many ideas and trust in what I am building for women and for myself is the right path to be on. And it just brings me so much joy, almost too much joy that I spend too much time on it.
It's a work in progress for us, but it is your path. It's your gift. And so I understand it. It comes from so deep. Our onward, you and I, is to help balance that so you nourish other parts of you. But I want to say this part of you, working with women and empowering birth, I've seen how much this has grown and what that confidence in yourself has done for you. And so you have every right to be so excited and joyful about it. It is beautiful, Melissa. Anything, any last reflections or thoughts that you'd want to share at all?
I don't think so.
All right, that's great. Melissa, thank you. It's such a joy to walk back together and revisit what you've done. You have so much to be proud of, and it has been such a joy to know you and work with you. So thanks for doing this today. Oh,
thank you. That has actually been really nice to think about where I've come from. And it has only just, like, it's been a short period of time.
Yes.
And to really recognize, because it is such a journey where like little things happen without you realizing, and it doesn't come forward and stare you in the face until someone literally asks you and pinpoints something for you.
Yes.
And I was thinking about it last night and I was like, oh, wow, I've come a long way in just a couple of years.
Good.
Which prior to that was like 15 years of looking. So, yeah, it's been really beautiful to share my journey, and I'm so grateful to you. And yeah, I think this is going to be game changing, the work that we do with mind body connection. And
for sure. Agreed. Thank you again, my love. Onwards.